ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the second video of the What's Map Tactics series. Today we'll be covering everything from Empire's Border all the way up to Ghost Town. So let's start off with Empire's Border. What do I think of it? I hate it with a passion. Good truth. I think heavy tanks, say from this side, they basically go here, 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 occasionally here. South side, they go here, 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 and here. There you go, very simple. Please, people, stop taking heavy tanks up here, or along here, or this way. See this, right? See this line? Heavy tanks don't go past it. Heavy tanks fight down here. You don't take your type 4 and your type 5 heavies up here. I saw that once, and I lost all hope for the human race. And that was halfway through 2020 as well, so take that as you will. Medium tanks, where do medium tanks go? Medium tanks, I mean, they can go up here. They can fight up here. Don't really want to fight down in that corner. Medium tanks can fight up here. Guess what? Amazing map. It's basically the same on the other side. There are two ways medium tanks can go on this map. They can run like this up to here, go there, or they can run up to this bit. Or they can go like this up here. This applies from both sides. But honestly, just take your medium tanks up here. Don't go middle. Middle is for the light tanks. Light tanks just here and here. You can take your light tanks occasionally and run them through the middle like this. Just go ham around here in your light tanks. Your tank destroyers will be backing you up from here. And obviously on the opposite side, it's over here and here. Tank destroyers can sit on this side as well. They can sit over here. I'd say north side has more of a difficulty with tank destroyers sniping this than this side does. This side is also, south side is also very good for shooting across like here. It's got more cover than north side does. But don't take tank destroyers up here, it's pointless. Unless you're in a fast, heavily armoured tank destroyer, which there are very few of in the game. Light tanks, we've already done. Artillery, honestly, the only place I know for artillery is down here in the corner, and artillery just shits all over this bit here. I don't know where to go for north side artillery. I guess like around here or maybe here. They can shoot into this. Basically, you want to be aiming for this in your artillery. But I don't really want to think about artillery all too much. I very rarely play it, and when I get Empire's Border I usually die a little inside, in any tank really. Encounter, guess what? It's basically the same, except you want to be taking more stuff up here to the middle and fight over this. I wouldn't ignore this entire area, but you've got tank destroyers to cover it. You don't want to, I mean, it depends. You can take it, but you just end up in a corridor. You're probably more useful overmatching down here with your medium tanks. This is the important area on both variants of the map. That's it really. It's basically the same for encounter as it is standard battle. Ensk is an interesting one. I mean, heavy tanks, obviously, they go here, just around here with all the heavy tanks. Same on this side, just around here. You can play heavy tanks around here or here. If they're fast enough, you can play heavy tanks in the hull downs that are around here, but watch out for artillery. Medium tanks, they usually dominate this side, playing along in here and here, playing here occasionally, maybe playing a supporting role in the town along this side here. Heavy tanks can sit up here as well, but that's usually reserved for tank destroyers covering the one line. Medium tanks maybe be playing in the little rail, in the little could be holes here along these train tracks, maybe pushing down the train tracks if it's, you know, it's seen as an opportunity, but usually it's the field. Tank destroyers, well, actually light tanks, we all know where those go. Light tanks just run around here like crazy people. You could take opportunities and flank down here in fast light tanks, killing artillery if there is some, or just putting pressure on, like behind heavy tanks and whatnot. Tank destroyers, they have a bit of flexibility. You can sit some here, you can sit them on the rails, you can sit them up here. At the side, it's basically same here on the rails. Here is difficult because whilst you have bushes and whatnot, you don't actually have any solid cover. The houses are destructible down there, so watch out for that. Artillery, I'd go in the corners, basically shoot the fields. You're going to be getting very few shots in the town, so just try and cover field somewhere. An encounter, it's exactly the same, except you probably want to be fighting over this. Actually, it's okay. This is interesting because I'd say take the I'd say fight over the field first, because 9 times out of 10 in random battles, people will sit on the cap. They won't actually push around to use the advantage the overmatch they have in town. So I would say fight the 7890 line, win this and then come in from behind. But if your entire team goes this way, follow them. I think that's just what you've got to do. If anything, you've got to follow the herd and not be a lemming train, become an armoured column. There's a difference there. Lemming train is to go here, they stop at one tank, they shit themselves and they don't move. If they all stop and cluster up around here on encounter or in any game, use your mobility, come inside, make opportunities for them. But obviously that's down to communication and if they listen. But I'd say fight field, win field, and then you've got opportunities to come in from both sides. Because at that point you've just denied them essentially half the map here. You can also take the rails, use the little gaps in here. You can, on some of the rails, ramp up over them, but you've got to have a lot of speed and a very tall tank to do that. Next one, Derpenberg, aka Erlenberg. This is an interesting one. Heavy tanks from south side can fight in here and here, but you've got to watch out for tanks on the 1, 2, 3 line. You can take here aggressively. Maybe you can take some tanks up here. I would not recommend it though. North side heavy tanks, I maybe one there. They have more of a time around here. They can also take here, but you've got to watch out from the hill. The medium tanks usually will play like around here. We usually play around here on both sides. But north side has a distinct advantage when it comes to, well, actually north side has a distinct advantage when it comes to the mediums, because the mediums on north side can go here. There is a lovely set of foliage around here which you can use to spot anything around here, shoot it and pull back, and you can get to this easily. You can get down here in your heavy tanks, but I feel you're more exposed than what you are on this side, just because of the way the angling works. The way the angling works, north side can shoot this easily, whereas south side can't shoot. Basically can't hit that unless they're still up there. However, south side does have very easy shots into the tanks across here, so it's sort of more of a case of north side wins west first and south side wins east first, just because of also where the cap circles are placed. And for the love of God, don't go here in your E100, please, because I've seen it before and it's just useless. You can cross these patches, see where it's slightly lighter, you can cross them, but just be warned, zoom out fully on your camera so you can see the patches of shallower water. And for God's sake, stop going over the bridge all at once. Like, honestly, you don't need to do it. Like, really, heavy tanks, you don't need to cross the bridge, you just go like this, okay? Stop pushing people off. Honestly, that's like half the people drown on this map. Light tanks, spawn a bush here, do a run here, spawn the bushes here and here. Opposite side, basically exactly the same thing, except you can run here, you can run there. You don't want to be running on the one line though from south spawn. Tank destroyers. If you're a heavily armoured tank destroyer, then you go town. That applies for both sides. But if you're a lightly armoured tank destroyer, then around here, around here. Don't know where else you'd put them. Tank destroyers can go up here, maybe here. Occasionally here. I feel like north side has a distinct advantage when it comes to tank destroyers defending, but you've just got to use foliage. Also use the terrain. The terrain on this side is very, very nice, especially with all of the foliage it provides. You can stay hold down, you can pull back and stay safe. This side as well, it's loads of ridges to hide behind. Artillery. I mean, just go wherever you see fit. Try and get angles to shoot on the heavy tanks. If that's where you want, like, going there, you'd have to be over here to get a good angle. But I mean, I don't play artillery that much, so just go wherever in RT. Assault. This is different because I very rarely play assault, so I would suggest still going exactly the same positions. Your easiest bet is to take middle. You take middle, you basically take the majority of the map control, because that way you can push out here and here, clear out these areas. Obviously, if you're defending, doesn't mean you can't take stuff. I see this repeated. This is the reason why I turned off assault games and encounter games, just because I don't like them. The amount of times I see people that will shout at the entire team, say, why are you pushing, why are you going forward? Just because you defend it doesn't mean you have to sit on the red line the entire game. If this entire flank is open and you're defending, take it. At that point, if you take this side of the map, you have essentially half the map. If you sit here, then you're just giving map control to them. Map control is important in every game mode, but more so on assault than anything. Obviously, for the attacking team, you've got to take map control to win. But for the defending team, it's you have to take it, because if you don't, you're sitting back here, you're missing out on shots from here into there, you're missing out from killing artillery. Or the other side it applies to, you miss out from getting them in crossfires. Take the same positions as you do on standards. Basically standard and encounter as well. Encounter is basically the same. So Erlenberg is a very set map in its tactics, but for God's sake, if you're defending, this applies for every assault game mode, take map control. If it's there, take it. Right? You don't not take it. You just got to be careful. Like, if you can get 1 or 2 allies to come with you, do it. But stop thinking because you're defending, you don't have to take map control. That's the whole point. You know, if you could push the attacking team into a corner, you've won. Even if you push them like onto this side, they have to get to this cap circle, whereas you could just hide tanks up here, and they can't push around this way because you've taken it. They can't push this because you're holding stuff up here. Simple. Whether people in randoms will listen to you is another question. That's why I don't play assault anymore. But anyway, encounter exactly the same as assault and standard games. There isn't really much difference here. I mean, maybe send more stuff to the middle, just because that's where the base is, but then you'd have to send more stuff to the flanks to secure them, so just play it the same. Fisherman's Bay. I love this map. Not so much in randoms. I feel like it's a bit boring in randoms, but it's heavy tanks. You can fight heavy tanks around here, you can fight heavy tanks in here. If you've got a fast heavy tank, you can push it to here, maybe even push it there if you're in a platoon of 3. But usually that side is reserved for the mediums. Obviously, if you're on the south spawn, you push them to here. It's basically just, there's a line on many maps, this one included, is what is nice, there's a line along here. However, it's a pretty unbalanced map for reasons I will explain. Mediums, they play 1-2. You can play mediums along here on both sides. You can play mediums up to here. You can play them back here as well. It applies for the same. Play them back here. You can play up here. It's all about just taking control, really. Light tanks. There's a bush here you can play. That's probably more for south spawn, for north spawn rather than that bush there. But if you can take it, take it. You just want to be doing runs though in the middle with both light tanks. Tank destroyers. You can go down here and here. You probably best bet is to sit up here. Occasionally you can maybe sit some people back here just to get shots in the middle. Applies for both sides really, although probably less on the north side. That's basically it for tank destroyers. Artillery, just go wherever. I'd probably be down here to shoot the town. Now what's important about Fisherman's Bay is also going to remove everything now. I'm going to explain this in a little bit of detail, because this is a really nice map for clan wars stuff. If you're spawning north, you have a massive advantage to start off with defending. This area is so easy to defend. You knock down the buildings that I'm pinging now, the destructible ones. You sit a tank here, you sit a tank up here, you sit tanks along here behind the buildings. You create a crossfire. They cannot push it, even if they outnumber you like 2 to 1. Unless they send everything down there, you only really need 5 tanks to defend against like 7 or 8 tanks. You can't really defend. You can defend south side relatively well. I know that sitting in here is a very powerful position, but if you're playing south side, your best bet is probably to play aggressive into town. You take this and you get 3 shots all along here. You get up to here, you get 3 shots along here. Basically, south theoretically wins this side faster, or wins this side more times out of 10 than north does. North side wins this side more times out of 10 than south does. That's sort of how Fisherman's Bay goes. Obviously it's a bit unfair if you look at where this middle road is here. Like if people take here, they can shoot straight up into here. Like if south side takes that, you've got 3 shots there, and there isn't really a way that north can counter that if they get pushed out of town. Like if north takes what would be the opposite side of the bay around here, they have some shots, but there's buildings in the way. They can get shot from tanks sat back here. But with heavy tanks, you want to push into here quickly. You want to push into there. You don't want to camp, even though there's like bushes. Just blind fire the bushes if you're going to camp in the town. But I'd recommend not camping. I'd recommend trying to break out 1-2 first in randoms. In clan wars it's different, but it's a completely different kettle of fish there. Fjords. This is an interesting map. Heavy tanks will basically just brawl it out here and here. Like don't go up north. North is, in my opinion, pretty pointless. Medium, when you can get heavy tanks, you can go like here in your heavies. I wouldn't recommend west spawn going here in heavy tanks, because if east has any brain, they'll send stuff up here. It's the wrong colour. They'll send stuff up here, and if you don't have anything to counter that, then it's just a free farm really. You want to be defending ABC line more on the west side than you do attacking it, because if you've got a line of tank destroyers here, wrong colour, if you've got a line of tank destroyers there and medium tanks, you've got a light tank that knows what he's doing, then you're pretty safe from everything. Like they can't push down to that because they'll just die in this zone here, and as long as you like maybe play here in the heavy tank. Don't take the hill unless you're in a fast light tank. Don't even take the hill if you start on this side. It's just, but you go into here, you die instantly. I feel like hill is irrelevant at this point. You want to be fighting over this dip here. So if you're starting east, take stuff up here. not much, but take a lot of stuff here and here. Like you want to control this side of the map. This here is just a deterrent if anyone's stupid enough to go there from west spawn. Light tanks, they're just around here for every single light tank really. There's nothing much else they do. Tank destroyers obviously on the other spawn will go here and here, maybe up here. Gonna sit some there if south gets pushed out, but this is the main factor here. This is probably one of the only maps where artillery is an actual massive, probably one of the most important vehicles in the game, in my opinion. Stop putting your arty pieces around here on east. Okay, please, because if you put them here, or even here, I don't know how the angles work. Look, perfect shots onto the hold down heavy tanks here, onto the tanks here. And you are countering what they do. I feel like North has West has a massive advantage for arty players that don't know what they're doing. If arty players know what they're doing on East, then it's balanced. If they don't, then West wins most times out of 10. Arty, you should probably already figure this one out. You go up here, you're covered, and the disgusting, literally you just got perfect shots onto the engine decks and the rear of tanks that are set up here. So please take your arty here on east, and then you can at least like counter it somewhat. Middle still important. You win middle, then your light tanks can pressure more. You can start taking more stuff. This is usually just a stalemate. Majority of the time you win this side, you come round, vice versa, you come round here. Yes, Fjords, it's a decent map. You just got to have artillery. Yeah, your artillery on this side has to know what they're doing, otherwise you lose instantly, unless the enemy team is really bad. Right, Ghost Town. Good lord, this is an interesting map, let's say. Not gonna lie, I missed the old Ghost Town back in 2016, but here we are. Heavy tanks here and here. You can obviously put heavy tanks there and there. I would never put heavy tanks here or here, because, well, around there at least. Because what happens is all the mediums and some of the heavies and the tank destroyers that go up to the 1-2 line just kill you instantly from there and instantly from there. You fight around here, even if arty's gonna like crap all over you, which arty should be here realistically, or here to counter this and counter this, vice versa on the other side, just there or along there. Medium tanks, I would take all the medium tanks, both sides, to play this side here. I don't really like playing 890 just because it's so open and you get into a massive crossfire from tank destroyers, which could be sat at the back like around here. Tanks here, the heavy tanks in town, obviously vice versa on this side, tanks will be here and here. So I'd send like the light tanks, like one here, like one there, maybe. Or just play cautious. Like you can obviously send some mediums to play around here. It can be very powerful, but you've just got to make sure that you play discreetly and very cautiously. That's it really. Light tanks, obviously, yeah, we've gone through. Light tanks, if you're on the other side, you just play here and here. So it's a very basic map. Again, there's like a massive cut-off point, like directly in the middle. It's very balanced, surprisingly, for a new map. Assault, I very rarely play assault, but I'd say take town. Town is priority, really. Obviously, winning a flank. If you're defending, it's so easy. A light tank here. Let's actually get one. A light tank goes here and here. You're good, and you've got tank destroyers backing you up from like around here and here. But really, just play to win town. If you're attacking, if you're defending, hold the flanks, hold town. That's basically it. If you win a flank, good. If you commit everything on a defense to one flank, push it. Don't sit there. Either rotate stuff to the other side or push it. Okay? It's very easy to defend on Ghost Town. Usually the defending team will run the time down or just kill everybody. Encounter is basically the same, except you want to take your light tank. You try not to suicide it. If your tank's got fantastic camouflage, they sit in a bush. Like, there's plenty to choose from around here. But make sure you tell the light tank, even if he dies here, you get far enough forward, you can remove 3, 4, 5k hit points from tanks if you snipe them. And this works for both sides. And then the rest is just played out simple along here. Yeah, obviously heavy tanks play town, tank destroyers play up here and here. Around there is basically exactly the same as what these are for both of them. So let's go rank these maps this time. So let's start off with Ensk, I believe was the first one, was it? Empire's Border was the first one, which I currently don't have a picture of. Right, I shall reconvene when I have a picture of Erlenberg, of Empire's Border rather. So let's start off with Empire's Border. Let's get the standard one. Empire's Border. Congratulations, you're the first one going. Actually, no, this is the balancing one. Empire's Border is balanced, unfortunately. I feel like both of them. The only issue they have is the artillery positions that I previously mentioned. The south side having better artillery positions than north side. Obviously that might be down to experience, but I have tried and it's very awkward trying to find artillery positions. Ensk is an interesting one. I feel like it's very balanced. If you just actually no, it's not balanced. Ensk is probably the first one that's going in unbalanced, or very unbalanced at least. For one main reason, which I didn't highlight, but the cap circles. If we take a quick look at Ensk, where is it? Let's go encounter. The cap circles. What do I mean by it? Well, this is more prominent in Clan Wars than anything else, but this is a tactic you can use. On standard, the cap circle is here and here. You both know where it is. It's obviously it's probably better if I actually show the standard Ensk one, just so it's easier. There we go. You see where the cap circles are, okay? Tank destroyers here can shoot down the rails, and they can hit the north cap circle very easily. It's very easy to be reset from both sides. There's 3 ways it can be reset in a big U shape effectively. Look at south side. The cap circle here isn't actually accurate. The cap circle is more around here, like this. This needs to be pushed up against the buildings. That's where it is. Can't be reset by the rails. It can't really be reset this way because you're hiding behind the buildings. Can't be reset this way because you're hiding behind the buildings. Can't be reset down the rails because you're hiding behind the buildings. This way is the only way you can reset it. What's the tactic you use in Clan Wars? Well, you see, basically, you go W key all the way around here, you put 3 tanks on the cap, you push the rest out, and there is no way they can reset you from the rails. They can't reset you from behind because obviously you've been there, you've cleared it. And they can only reset you from this, by which time you've cleared this area. That's why Ensk is going in the very unbalanced section. But not many people know this, so it's not going completely in the ridiculously unbalanced section down in Arty. Erlenberg. I would say standard Erlenberg would probably go balanced. There's a good amount of points for both sides, you just got to know them. And that's the same with encounter. Assault is different though. Assault is going in very unbalanced. Just because of where the cap circle is, you can easily defend the 890 line with tank destroyers, and you can easily defend the AB line with tank destroyers. And majority of the times the timer is run out by the defending team because it's very difficult to push into that camp. Fisherman's Bay is probably going in the unbalanced section, just because of how easy it is for the north team to defend the top left corner, how easy it is for the south team to push into town. But obviously pushing into town is difficult because town ends up being a camp fest, and realistically the only way break in the camp is going to be achieved is by south pushing up 1-2 line or north pushing down 1-2 line, and north has the considerable advantage there of pushing into the 1-2 area. Artillery can play a factor, it can shoot behind the windmill, but obviously if artillery is not there then it's very easy for north side to win that engagement. Fjords, it's going in very unbalanced. I feel like the western team has a considerable advantage with artillery, with defensive positioning, just in all the important positions except the middle. The middle is the only saving grace for the east side. That is why it's not in the ridiculously unbalanced section, just because, you know, east can actually win something on this map aside from the top corner, which becomes irrelevant. Ghost Town standard battle, I'd say it's actually pretty balanced. It is basically just a straight divide. I'm actually going to say to put it in perfectly balanced because it's just a straight divide down the middle. It's basically symmetrical. I think any team has a distinct advantage when it comes to it. Same with encounter, actually, that will go into perfectly balanced. Assault is different. I'd say assault is pretty unbalanced just because the defending team has a considerable advantage with the way the map is set out. So let's have a look. Where would I put all these maps? Where would I put Empire's Border? Oh yeah, it's going straight. Congratulations, Empire Border. You're the first one in the suicidal zone. I despised that map with a passion. Ensk next. Where would I put Ensk? I'd say Ensk is bad. I feel like it's too small. It's okay at low tiers, but as soon as you start progressing up the tiers, it just becomes so small to play. It's like why Province is only tier 7 and not any higher, because it's just a small map to play. Erlenberg, I'd say is average. It has its good and bad points on all types of game modes. I'd probably say Assault is maybe in the bad category, just because of, you know, if you're the attacking team, you've got a much more difficult task of winning. But Erlenberg is okay. It's pretty fun to play if you're in any type of tank, really, except Tank Destroyer. But Tank Destroyers aren't really fun to play in 2021 anymore. Fisherman's Bay, I'd say good. I love playing Fisherman's Bay. Probably one of my favourite maps. Fjords, despite it's a difficult one, because I quite like playing Fjords, even though it's pretty unbalanced. So I'm going to stick it in the good section, even though it's got its issues. I enjoy it, and this is really my personal opinion on it. Obviously, people have different opinions. Ghost Town, Assault is going in suicidal. Encounter is going probably in bad, and Standard's going in awful. It's probably it, really. I feel like Encounter's the most fun to play because everyone just sort of yellows Town. Standard is boring, and Assault is just beyond not even fun unless you're defending. So those were the next 5 maps from Empire's Border all the way up to Ghost Town. If you did enjoy, please do leave a like, share and subscribe. I'm contemplating doing a Clan Wars Tactics one, since the campaign is coming up soon, so I might be doing that after, or doing that before. Obviously, depending on when this video comes out, it could be the 2022 campaign, or the second, or the gold campaign in 2021, because my upload schedule seems to be absolutely incredible, which I apologise about. But let me know what you think of that idea, and thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.